Dear students, today we will be just going with a new thing, that is Newton's laws of motion. Now, Newton's laws of motion, all the laws are dealing with a specific thing, and that is force. Now, all of us know that what is force, because all of us are implying force to do something. Suppose we are dragging something, we are pushing something, we want to uplift something. So in every case, force is applied. And with force we should know two more terms, that is balanced and unbalanced force. Now what is a balanced force? It is very clear from the name only, that when the outcome of suppose on a body there are two or more force acting, but the body is stationary, that is the outcome of all the forces is zero, that is they are neutralizing each other. If this kind of force is applied to a body, then we can say that is a balanced force. But if the outcome of all the forces are coming into one direction, then we can say that is unbalanced force. Suppose two persons are dragging one thing from both the sides. If it is happening that the persons cannot move the object in any of the direction, then we can say the force applied from both the sides are same, and that is they are neutralizing each other, so it is a balanced force, and that is why the object is not moving. But if we are saying that suppose the force is applied from both the sides or on the same object, and one person is very hefty and of much more strength, and the other person is very lean and thin, so we can say that the person who is much healthy, so he will be implying more force and the object will be moving towards him. So this is an unbalanced force. So for unbalanced force, the object is on a move, but for a balanced force, the object is stationary. So we will be dealing with force. Now there are three laws of Newton. We will be dealing with first law, second law and third law. And first law is giving you something, second law is giving you something, and third law is also giving you a specific concept. Now to discuss Newton's laws, one thing you should be very clear, that when the law will be asked for, suppose I am asking you one question, that you state Newton's first law or you state Newton's second or third law. So in every case you should not use your own words, you should memorize in the way that is written in the book. That is, law means it is given by the scientist himself. So we have to quote the thing as it is. So you don't imply your own words, so you be very clear with that thing. Now what is Newton's first law? Now we all know that if one object is at rest, suppose one book is on the floor, now it will be there for long years if we are not moving it. That means if no force is applied on that very book, so it will be stationary. So that is the implication of Newton's first law. That is, Newton's first law states that when one object is stationary, it will be stationary if no external force is applied on that. And with that thing, there is one more thing, that is when one object is on move, that is if one car is moving or if one ball is rolling on the floor, it will be continuing in its motion in a straight line until and unless an external force is applied. Now the question may be coming, because if one marble or if one ball is rolling on the floor, so it happens that after a little time it stops moving. So why it happens? So the question may be coming, because Newton's first law tells us that if one object is on a move, it will be in the state of motion until and unless an external force is applied, and it will be in a motion in a straight line. It will not be curved if no force is applied on it. Now which force is applied on that very ball, so that the ball after some time it stops? So this is very clear, that because that is, if it is moving on the floor, so the frictional force will be applied by the floor on the ball. Or if a car is on move, now the engine stops working. After a certain time, the car would stop. Now why? As because the road would give the frictional force. So here we can say that frictional force is applied, and that is acting in the opposite direction of motion of the ball either or the car. So if we can make a road of no friction, then we can see that the car will be moving on its way. as there is no force acting on that object to resist it. And we can see that on a billiard board, if we are just going for a billiard board, the ball will be moving for a long time by a very little force, because very less friction is acting over there. Or if we are just going for the skating, that is ice skating. Now on ice the friction is very less. So if something is moving on an ice floor, then it is seen that it will be moving for a long time, because a very less frictional force is applied. So if we can make a floor like this, that there is no friction, then we can see that it will not be stopped ever, and it will be moving on a straight line and with the same velocity. So this is Newton's law, that is, if one object is in motion, it will be in motion with a straight line, and if one object is stationary, it will be stationary if and unless and until an external force is applied on it. Now we'll be just going with Newton's second law. Now what is the statement of Newton's second law? Newton's second law states us that the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the force applied and acts in the direction of the force applied. Now there is a new term, that is momentum. Now what is a momentum? Momentum is the property of one object which is coming as the product of mass and velocity. That is, if one object is of much more mass, so with the same velocity it would gain much more momentum than a body which is of less mass. So momentum is a new thing. So how we can express it in the way that is m into v. So what will be the unit of momentum? It is also very clear from the expression, that is m into v. So it will be kg meter per second. So this is a new term. Now the statement is the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the force applied and takes place in the direction of the force applied. Now it is clear that momentum, as because here velocity is implied, so momentum is a vector quantity. So it should have a specific direction. Now what is the direction it will be acting? The rate of change of momentum will be acting in the direction of the force applied. So this is the statement. Now from the first law, that is Newton's first law, we have got something we have got that is very special. And what it is? We have got the definition of force, because therefrom we can conclude the definition like force is something which when applied on a body, it can change the state of rest or motion. So this is from the first law we are getting the definition of force, and from the second law we will be getting something, and what it is, we will be getting the expression of force, that is how we can measure force. And from the first law there is something else, that is inertia. Inertia of a body. And what is inertia of a body? Inertia of a body is also that very thing which resists its state of rest or motion. Now how we can measure inertia? Now suppose there are two things. Suppose one brick is there and suppose one chalk is there on the floor. Now if I want to displace the chalk and if I want to displace the brick, so both will resist its state of rest, because both of it will be trying to keep its position of rest. Now where we have to give much more force? Where the mass is more. That is, it will resist more which is having more mass. So this is known as that is the mass is the measurement of inertia. And there are two kinds of inertia. One is static inertia and one is dynamic inertia. Now static inertia means that very inertia which is trying to position or to keep its position of rest, and dynamic inertia, it is very clear that it will always try to keep its position of movement or keep its state of motion. And that is why we can see that from a moving bus, when we want to come down from a moving bus, so we have to run with the bus. And it is also said that if we are sitting on a bus which is not moving, now if the bus is about to move, what we feel? We will be feeling that our body is leaning back, no, in that way. Why? because our body was at rest, so it will be trying to keep at the position of rest. But now, as because I am sitting on the seat of the bus and the bus starts moving, so my lower portion starts to move, but my upper portion, which is not in contact with the bus, it will try to keep its position of rest, so we will be leaning back like this. And the same thing, if the bus is on a move, so my whole body is moving. Now if the bus suddenly just use the brake, now what happens? We will be just moving forward like this, no? Why? Because my body was in a motion and it is always trying to keep its the state of motion. But as because the brake is applied, so the portion of my body which is in contact with the bus will be suddenly stopped, but my upper portion will be trying to move forward. That is why we are always we will be just feeling like we will be just moving forward if we are just in a moving bus. And that is why only when we are jumping down from a moving bus, my body will be trying to move forward with the velocity of the bus only, so I have to keep that pace. But because if I am just coming down and if I am just stopped, suppose, so my legs will be stopped, but my upper portion will be trying to move forward, so accident may happen. That is why when we will be coming down from a moving bus, we have to go run with the bus. So this is due to inertia. So there are two kinds of inertia. One is static inertia and one is dynamic inertia, and mass is the measurement of inertia. I have told that from Newton's second law we are getting the expression of force, and from Newton's first law we are getting the definition of force. Now from Newton's second law, how we can have the expression of force? Now let us consider one object of mass m, initial velocity u, final velocity v, and let us consider the change of velocity takes place in time t. So mass is m, initial velocity u, final velocity v, and time is t, by which the change of velocity takes place. Now how the velocity takes place? Of course, one force applied, that is why the velocity changes, because we know if the force is applied in the same direction, it will be increasing the velocity, and if the force is applied opposite to the motion, then it will be decreasing the velocity. Now here it may increase or decrease, you should not bother about that. Okay, suppose let us consider the object is increasing its velocity. Okay, now what happens if we are just going for the change of momentum? Now what I told, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So initial momentum is mu and final momentum is mv. Okay, so if we are just going for change of momentum, what will be coming? mv minus mu. That is the change of momentum. Now what is the statement? Rate of change of momentum is proportional to the force. If we are considering that a force is applied and the change of momentum takes place in time t, then the rate of change of momentum is mv minus mu by t. Now this is proportional to f, that is force applied. Now m, if we are taking common, then what is left? v minus u by t. Now what is this? This is nothing but acceleration. How we can have the expression of this? As because we know this formula, v equals u plus at. In the former chapter we have done v equals u plus at, and now v minus u equals at. U is moving to that side. Now a is v minus u by t. So v minus u by t is the expression of acceleration. Now we can put m into a proportional to f, or ma equals kf, because from proportionality to equality we have come, so we have to go with one constant. So this k has come, and for SI k has the value 1, so we can write mass into acceleration equals force. So this is the expression of force, and this is the way we can measure force, because there are three things: mass, acceleration and force. So if mass and acceleration of the body is known, we can have the force, and in the same way if the mass and the acceleration is known, then also we can have force. So from the Newton's first law we are getting the definition of force, and from Newton's second law we are getting the expression of force. That is how we can have the that is measurement. So Newton, so this is force, and there are some units of force. We will be knowing the units of force also. Now we will be knowing about the units of force. So there are mainly two kinds of units. One is absolute unit and one is gravitational unit. Now in absolute unit, again we are getting Newton and dyne, and for gravitational unit we are getting kg weight and gram weight. Now there may one confusion come, because now what are the units of mass if I am asking? So your answer will be kg or gram, that is kilogram or gram, that is mass. But generally when we ask what is your weight, we used to give our answers like my weight is 50 kg, my weight is 60 kg. But do you think weight is a scalar quantity? No, weight is a vector quantity. Why? Because here misconception comes. Now why weight is a vector quantity? Because if I am just asking for the definition of weight, what will be the thing? Your answer will be the force by which earth drags something towards its center, that is weight. So that is nothing but a force. Now force is a vector quantity obviously, because to define force we have to go with the direction. Now if I want to drag the object, we have to give the force. Suppose I want to move the object rightward, so I have to drag the object rightward only. I have to say that in rightward direction we have to give the force. And if I want to move the object leftward, so we have to go with the leftward direction. So whenever one force is implied, we have to go with proper direction of force. So this is a vector quantity. So if I am just asking for weight, that is also a vector quantity, because that is the specific force by which the earth is dragging something towards its center. Now towards its center means this is a specific direction. But if I am asking for your weight, and if you are saying that is your weight is 50 kg, so it is no right. So there is something wrong with it. So you should say something more, but you are just coming to kg only. But what is the mistake? Why you have done the mistake? So you should go like that. You should say that your weight is kg weight. That means 50 kg weight. You cannot say it is 50 kg, but generally when we speak like this only, that my weight is 50 kg or 60 kg. But actually we should speak like my weight is 50 kg weight or 60 kg weight, because when we are just going for kg weight, this is no more a mass, this is weight. That means this is a force. This is a very basic concept, and you should just always remember this. Now just I have told Newton is one force and kg weight is also one force. One is absolute unit and one is gravitational unit. Now how we can relate these two? Gravitational unit may be transferred into absolute unit by multiplying it with the gravitational acceleration. Gravitational acceleration means what? Due to the application of a force on a body, one acceleration must imply on that body, because that is why only one object that is dropped from a very high altitude, when it will be coming nearer to the earth, it would have more velocity and more velocity and more velocity. And that also we have solved this kind of problems in the previous chapter, and we used gravitational acceleration as 10 meter per second or sometimes 9.8 meter per 10 meter per second square or 9.8 meter per second square. So gravitational acceleration comes like this. And if I am saying my weight is 50 kg weight, that means if I want to transfer this in Newton, how to do this? Just multiplying 50 by 10. So in Newton it will be 500 Newton. And the same thing comes with dyne only. Now dyne, what is dyne? Dyne is the CGS unit and Newton is SI unit. Now in CGS system, dyne is the unit and that is absolute unit. So what will be the gravitational unit? It will be gram weight. And if I want to transfer gram weight to dyne, what to do? Again I have to multiply that thing by gravitational acceleration. And what is the gravitational acceleration there? It is 1000 centimeter per second square. So we have to multiply this by 1000. So in that way we can transfer from gravitational unit to absolute unit. Now I will be going with Newton's third law. And what is this? this is not only Newton's third law, I must say that is the law of life also. Because what is the statement over there? The statement is every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So don't you think this is applicable for our day-to-day life also? If you are getting rude to someone, then you will be getting rude behavior. If you are just getting polite to someone, you will be getting polite behavior. If you are studying well, then you will be having good result. So every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So that is Newton's third law. And that is why only, suppose you are giving a big punch on the wall, so your hand will be hard. Now how it is hard? Because you are giving the thrust. That means the wall is also giving the same thrust on your hand. That is why your hand is hard. So that is the action and reaction. So we will be just dealing with all these things, and you will be getting lots of examples in your book. So you just go with all the examples for Newton's third law and for inertia. So you will be getting lots of examples and questions. So you have to go with that. And before completion, only one thing I have to tell. Suppose you are asked what is 1 Newton? What is 1 Newton? Or if you are asked for the definition of 1 Newton, then what would be? How we can express 1 Newton? So already we have got the expression of force, that is mass into acceleration equals force. Now if you are just dealing with Newton, that means we are just going with SI system. So what we will be considering for mass? We will be considering 1 kg. And what we will be considering for acceleration? We will be considering 1 meter per second square. So can we say like the force which when applied on a mass of 1 kg and makes an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, then that very force is known as 1 Newton. So the same thing we can go for 1 dyne also. So what will be the definition of 1 dyne? We can say that that very force which when applied on a mass of 1 gram and initiates the object to an acceleration 1 centimeter per second square. Because here we have to go with centimeter per second square, because that is CGS system. So that very force is 1 dyne. So if the definition is asked for, so you have to go like this.